You guys all recorded in the same room. Do you feel that there's been like, what do you feel about today over the last 5 to 10 years of just not being in the same space? I know virtual space is its own type of thing, but being in the same space as y'all cutting with Mr. Brown and then it going from one process to another, but at least y'all feeling each other out.
Yeah.
Was it one of those situations where you knew that you're playing with somebody, but you don't want to get outdone by somebody, but you also want to stay in lock but not get outdone?
Yeah. You know, it's kind of like, you know, being in a room with somebody you look up to, you know, and you want to make sure you making this mug feel good, feel you.
Right.
You know, while that mug is doing the same thing, he want to make sure that you feel him, you know? And when you do that, it's this creativity that just sparks. You know, when two mugs are like vibing, you know? I mean, and vibing hard. It's like you and the chick in the back of the Chevy where the vibes get heavy, you know? I mean, without that, you know, it's like you just imagine, you know, wow, I wonder what it would be like playing with James Brown.
Did you have any times where y'all would have honest discussions after a day session and be honest with each other, like, dude, you didn't bring your A game today and you just didn't cut it right? I mean, was it any of those things, or was it musician silence, like, you know you ain't cut that shit right, but I'm gonna keep it low not to be in a fight?
You know what? We didn't get it to that part. We always knew that you had to always bring your A game. You had to, and you knew when you was messing up. I mean, you knew, you know, because we wasn't, you know, we were so into it being on the one, you know, especially after the training of being with James Brown. We were so into that I didn't have to say, man, you wasn't on it. I mean, a mug would know. I mean, not saying that this was a universal thing for everybody, but for us, it was like, you knew, because James Brown would tell us, you know. I mean, he would tell us, I mean, it would be like after every gig, you know, he'd call us back, and we already knew what the rap was, you know. We already knew, and I mean, we thought we was killing them. You know, we were killing them dead, sweat popping, the people out there dancing, jamming, falling in the aisle. We like, oh, we know we done killed them. You know, James Brown called us back in the back. First thing he do, he sit up on his chair, look at me, Bootsy, be shaking his hand, throwing his hands up. I be like, I already know what he getting ready to say. He be like, y'all just ain't on it. Y'all ain't got it, son. Son, you ain't got it. And I be like, got what? You ain't got it, son. You ain't got that one. You know, and he did this after every show, you know? And to me, you know, I'm a youngster, you know, so I'm like, why is he doing this to me? You know, because I know we killing him. We practicing every day. We tight, and he's grooving like a mug. I mean, you know, you can tell when somebody, I mean, you can tell when a chick is faking, you know? I mean, James Brown was not faking. He was like, he was killing. And then he would come back and tell us, you ain't got it, son. You know? And so that, to me, at that time was like, either I'm crazy or I need to get higher than I am.
You know what's a beautiful thing, and I know a lot of people know the story when you went from Mr. Brown to your good brother, Uncle George.
Oh, yeah.
People know the story, but people probably want to hear the short. No, I want to know. Every time I see y'all, it's like this unspeakable magic, that this telepathy where it goes, so much goes unsaid. It's just like y'all always pick up where you left off, and that's always a beautiful thing to learn from.
Yeah, well, George, I, and Bernie have this, you know, I don't even know what it is. I mean, I don't know what it is. Ever since the first day that George and I met, I never will forget, in Detroit, you know, I went over to his house. Malia Franklin, she said, Bootsy, she came to see us. You know, we was playing at this club. She came to see us. We had just left James Brown. She came to see us and she said, man, do you know Funkadelic? I was like, no, but we've been hearing about it. y'all look just like that. You need to meet George. You need to, y'all sound like you need to meet it, you know.
So what, as she's saying this to you like, all right. You know, how does that click into you?
Because I'm feeling like, you know, we are the baddest motherfuckers on the planet, you know. Does she know who, I mean, you know, so, you know, and she telling me I need to meet this and that and the other. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. But at that time, it was like, you know, we were in search of getting our band to the front of the stage because we had got tired of just playing behind singers. And as a matter of fact, that's what we were doing in Detroit. Billy from the Spinners had called.
Okay.
And
Billy Henderson?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he wanted a backup band. Felipe Wynn was our lead singer.
Right.
So, you know, we had the band and we had the lead singer, Felipe Wynn. So we all went to Detroit, you know, on their, you know, their dime.
Right.
They brought us up there. But when we got there, you know, it was like, you know, when we started playing this club and all these young people, you know, it's like, you know, and it reassured us that, man, y'all need to be doing y'all's own thing, you know, and, you know, forget the Spinners,
Right.
you know. So I'm like, okay, so what we should do is probably let Phil go with the Spinners.
Wow.
You know, and I'm gonna go meet George. You know.
Y'all was making like baseball trades back then. It's like
Yeah, and you know, we didn't know what we was doing. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, I had a written script.
Yeah, right.
You know, like, okay, you do this, you do that, and everything's cool. You know, get with George, everything's gonna be smooth. You know, I didn't have none of that. I just had to go with my, you know, the universe would tell me this, that, and the other, and I would go with it. You know, and went over and met George. I knew. You know, it was like we sit down. That month, I walked in the house. First of all, it was like Adam Family.
Like what?
It was like you knock on the door, and the door said, the normal person would have ran away, right? I'm so loaded to the gills, it's like, oh man, this is cool. So I walk in, the house is completely black. Completely black. George had a black light, you know, right in front of him, right? He's sitting over in the corner, got his, you know, he's in his Buddha thing, you know, and he got the black light on him, and he got a sheet on, all right? I walk in the door, completely black, and I see over in this corner the white sheet. And to top that off, people, he had chicken feet on with it. I'm like, dang. I said, this is it. You know. Now see, I had already made up my mind. I didn't care what he said. I already knew this is where I belong. This is where I belong. Yeah.